Imagine waking up and discovering that the entire internet hates you simply because you asked your husband to take out the trash and unload the dishwasher. Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Today I want to talk about a topic that happened a while back, but I've been seeing it on my timeline recently because my algorithm is all over. The story follows a TikToker by the name of Paige, but her account goes by she's a page turner, and she posted this video months ago, like back in March. It was a huge deal. A lot of people were talking about it, not just people on TikTok, but news outlets. Now Paige is a creator on TikTok, and her content covers mental health, childcare, motherhood, as well as marriages, and giving advice to people in those categories. Her account is pretty big. She has over 300,000 followers. The reason Paige's story blew up is because back in March, she came on the internet to tell the story about how she and her husband almost got a divorce because she felt that her husband was disrespecting her and not helping her around the house and not making motherhood easy for her right after she had just given birth to her fourth child. And it was a lot, emotions were high. She's postpartum. She just felt like she wasn't getting the help that she needed from her spouse, and how the two was able to reconcile and save their marriage. An important detail to know is that Paige is telling us this story 3 years after this event, meaning she and her husband are still married. They didn't get a divorce, they're fine, everything is good and dandy. What Paige didn't anticipate after uploading this video is the backlash she would receive, because people were not happy. They were not happy at all. As of right now that I am filming this video, this happened back in March. This video has 12.5 million views. 12.5 million views, okay? And of those 12.4 million views, she has 1.3 million likes on this video. Now you're probably like, what's the problem? Why are people mad at her? What did she say in her video to ignite all this hate against her? Well, that's what we're going to learn together. I have the video here, so we're gonna watch it together and see what led to the outrage. Let's get into it.
I've been with my husband for almost 20 years, but about 3 years ago, I was strongly considering divorce, and I want to talk to you about why. So I'm going to tell you the story of the day where I thought to myself, maybe I don't want to do this anymore. My husband and I had 4 kids. We both worked full time. We had been together for 16 years at this point. We've been together since high school.
Remember that they both work full time. They have 4 kids, and they've been together for 16 years at this point. Emphasis on they both work full time and they have 4 kids.
And on paper, I have an amazing husband. He is incredibly supportive. He's kind. He's loyal. He's a great dad. He's very hands-on. He's an active participant. He's always present. Like on paper, what else could I ask for? But in reality, my experience is very similar to the experience of other women. I had this amazing husband who on paper was great, but I was incredibly frustrated and burnt out from our marriage and from motherhood. Because what happens to so many of us is that we marry these amazing men and we have amazing relationships, and then we have kids. And when we have kids, women tend to carry a disproportionate amount of the work in the home, the work of raising kids, and the mental load. And that is exactly what happened to us.
Now, disclaimer, I am not married. I am not a mom, so... But I do know that women do tend to take on a lot of the load when it comes to childcare and taking care of their children compared to their spouse. That is well known. You cannot argue with that. If you do, you are delusional. I'm sorry. That's just the case. Is that for everyone? Obviously not. There are single fathers out there. There are stay-at-home dads out there. So I'm not saying that it's not impossible for a father to take on the majority of the role, but it does not happen most of the time. It does not happen majority of the time. It's normally the moms who do. I've seen it firsthand in my household, and I'm sure for some of you who grew up in a dual parent household, you probably saw your mom do more work than your dad. Once again, no shade to the dads out there, not saying that their job is less, but we do know that moms do more than dads. We all know that, right? Okay. She's laying the foundation so you understand where she's coming from. She's a working mom who is married as well.
About 3 months after my 4th baby was born, I remember looking at my husband and saying, I need more. I need you to do more. I am exhausted. I am in charge of everyone and everything in this house. Every night, When we cook dinner, you ask me what to make. Every day, when you drop off the kids at daycare, you ask me what they need in their backpacks. I am the project manager of this home and I need you to do more. And he looked at me and he said, okay, just tell me what to do, right? Every woman has heard this. Just tell me what to do and I'll do it. And I said, okay, something that would make my life easier is if in the mornings when I came downstairs with the 4 kids, because I do mornings by myself, the dishwasher was emptied, the dishes were put away, and the trash was taken out. That would make my life so much easier, because when I've got the 4 kids running around and the baby crying, I can't be looking for their favorite water bottle in the dishwasher. I just need to know it's clean. And he said, yeah, of course. What? Yeah, I'll do that. That's no problem.
She noticed she was overwhelmed, so she communicated with her husband and told him like, hey, I have a lot going on. We have the 3 kids. We just had a new baby. It is a lot for me. To make my job more easier, do you mind taking out the trash every night and unloading the dishwasher to make mornings a lot more easier for me? I would hate to wake up in the morning and get the kids ready and then also have to track everything down. I don't want to have to track the bottles, the water bottles, the cups, the spoons, the this, the that. I don't want to have to do that. So to make my mornings more easier for me, to make life more easier for me, to take the load off of me a tad, take the trash out and unload the dishwasher. You got 2 jobs. Take the trash out and unload the dishwasher. Of all the jobs that exist in a family's household, do 2 of them. And he agreed. He said, yes, I'll do it. If it'll make your life easier, I will help you. I will take on that responsibility. And she said, okay. A promise has been made. A solution has been agreed upon that this person will do this job to make this person's job more easier.
And so, of course, he does it. But then I have to remind him, and then he forgets, and then I have to remind him again.
And here she goes on to say that even after they agreed that he would take out the trash and unload the dishwasher, he still wasn't consistent in doing it. So you have to understand her frustration. You having to constantly ask someone to do something after they already agreed that they will get it done is a bit much. It's a lot. It's a lot for anyone. I don't care who you are. It's a lot for anyone. And I know for some people it might seem very trivial. It might not seem like a big deal. Okay, whatever. He forgot to take out the trash and unload the dishwasher. It's not that big of a deal. Life will continue. But that's the point. It's the fact that he's not able to be consistent with something so simple. And I think that's really where her anger stems from. It's like, I'm doing all of this in the morning and you can't take out the trash and unload the dishwasher to make my mornings easier, and I have to keep telling you, I have to keep reminding you, I have to call you. Anyone would be upset. I don't care who you are. You will be upset. You'll be frustrated. You will feel like your partner, your friend, your whomever is not respecting your wishes and is not helping you when you really need it the most. And let's not forget, this woman is 3 months postpartum. 3 months postpartum. I feel like right off the bat, she gets a pass. She gets a pass. Like, what? I can imagine being 3 months postpartum and then having all this load on me, then having to ask my husband to help me. That's a lot. That's a lot for anyone. I'm sorry. That's a lot. I'm sorry. And I know some will disagree, but that's a lot. And to me, she gets a pass right away. And I'm sure her husband is very hands-on. She states that in the beginning of the video. She says her husband's amazing. He's a great father, and I'm sure he does a lot of tasks around the house, but she is asking him to do more of the domestic chores in the house that she would normally take on, just to make life more easier for her and their household. So I think it's very important that we take that in and remember it as the story unfolds.
There's this one morning where I woke up and I went to put something in the trash and it was overflowing. And I went to get my son's water bottle and it was in the dishwasher with all the other clean dishes. And I felt so disrespected and unseen and unvalued at that point in time. And I remember texting my husband being like, what happened? Like, why didn't you do this? And he said, sorry, I was running late for work. And I remember thinking, oh my God, he doesn't see me, because what he's done has now made me late for work. And he doesn't care about that. He doesn't care about the impact on me. And he doesn't see how every single thing in our home happens because I ask him to do it, or because I do it myself, or because I planned and organized it.
Once again, I'm not a mom, but I'm sure many moms can relate to her and understand where she's coming from, where she says that, why is it that I have to ask you to even do that? That should have been something she had to vocalize. That should have been something that was done already, that he took upon himself to make life more easier for her, given that she is the one who spends the mornings with the kids. So her being frustrated makes complete sense. Like, the one thing I asked you to do, you wasn't able to do it. The one job. I mean, you had 2 jobs. Trash and dishes. That was it. 2 jobs. 2 jobs. 2 jobs. 2 jobs. You had 2 jobs. And that couldn't be done. Mind you, she works as well. She's not your typical stay-at-home mom. She has a job. So his inability to take out the trash and unload the dishwasher impacted her job. So not only is she physically drained, emotionally drained, now you're impacting her professionally. And that's a problem for me. The moment you start messing with my money, that's a problem. That's a problem. That's a problem. That's a problem. Don't do it.
And I felt so frustrated. And I remember thinking, what's the point? What's the point of doing this with someone else? I might as well just do it alone. And it's not because my husband didn't love me or he did anything to me. And it's not because I didn't love him, but because I felt so taken advantage of in our relationship. And this dynamic, it doesn't happen by accident, right? It's not like my husband did it to me, but we've been raised in this society that tells men and women who they should be in marriages and what it looks like to be a good mom versus a good dad. And we know the bar for moms is way up here and the bar for dads is way down here. And we fell into these norms. We fell into these roles.
And that is exactly why I wanted to review this video. If you saw my last video where I talked about the TikToker named Courtney Joelle, where she promotes traditionalist ideas of how women should be more feminine, how they should carry themselves and talk and walk and act so that their husbands or spouse can treat them a certain way. And I talk about how Courtney views are not new. She is not the first person to come online and try to preach to us this traditionalist way of living. She is not the first person and she won't be the last. This has been happening for decades. For centuries, this idea that women are supposed to do this and men are supposed to do that. And if a woman is not doing this, then she is not perceived to be more feminine. Then she is not perceived to be soft and kind and nurturing. And that's not right. Here we are seeing a woman who is a working mom. And despite her being a working mom, she is still expected to do the traditional things that women are supposed to do. She still has to be the primary caregiver of her children. She still has to cook. She still has to clean. She still has to be nurturing and soft and all of this. Her being a working mom does not substitute any of those tasks that is quote unquote expected of her to do. She still has to do that plus do her day job, where her husband can come home after his day job and not have to worry about any of the chores in the house because his wife already did it, and it's not fair.
Lucky, and I say lucky because I have a partner who I know loves me and wants me to be happy and was willing and able to change. And so we did the work to figure out what equity looked like in our relationship. And I can tell you now, 3 years later, that we are happier than ever. Our kids are thriving. Our home runs like a well-oiled machine. And that took a lot of work. I want to say it took like 18 months to get there, and it was well worth it.
18 months? 18 months? Is that normal? Once again, I'm not married. I don't have no kids. Is that normal? 18 months for someone to understand something? Does it take 18 months? That's a long time. That's a long time. That's a long time. I can't judge because her marriage is working fine. She's saying that, everything is perfect in their marriage. They're in unison. Their house is able to function properly. So maybe those 18 months were required in order for them to get to the place that they are right now, where she's able to then tell this story and, and it not ignite a fight or disagreement between them.
But we need to really assess in our homes what the work looks like. Because in most homes, the data supports this, women do a disproportionate amount of the work. They just do. They do more of the cooking and the cleaning and the laundry and the childcare while also working full time. And men have more time for things like their hobbies, like golf, for example, or just working out, running a marathon, right? And so we need to have hard conversations about what our time looks like, what our labor in the home looks like, what is invisible labor. We have to talk about these things. And when we don't, the alternative is that you no longer have a marriage. or you don't have a happy one at least. And so I share this story because I don't think I'm alone in this experience. And I want people to know that there's hope and that if you have a willing and able partner, you can change this. You can absolutely change this dynamic.
I think what saved her marriage is proper communication. Through their disagreements and her anger, she was still communicating with her husband. And I'm sure within those 18 months, a lot of communication, a lot of counseling, a lot of therapy was taking place, both together and separate. Communication is so important. And I talked about this in my last video where I said it's so important for you to just tell your spouse what you want from them. If you want them to do something for you, let them know. If you want them to act a certain way, let them know. Don't just expect them to read your mind and then carry on. Like, unless you want actual change, you're going to have to voice your opinion. You're going to have to stand up. You're going to have to speak out and make them understand where you're coming from and allow them to digest it and take it all in. And then you can come back together and discuss it and see, okay, where are we right now? I told you my issues and you said, okay, where are we? Are we good? Now, I don't know about you, but that didn't seem like a big deal to me. Did not warrant an outrage, but that's exactly what happened after Paige uploaded this video. People started commenting. And this video, I'm gonna be quite honest, I truly believe that it fell on the wrong side of TikTok. A lot of the women who were commenting understood where Paige was coming from and were on her side. They were like, yes, this happens a lot. You are absolutely correct. We agree with you 100%. That's it. And then the men, child, they were ripping her to shreds. The comments were brutal. People were telling her husband to divorce her, how she should be single, she don't deserve him, she's overreacting, she needs to change her perspective, how dare she, why would she bring this to the internet, what's the purpose, what's the reason, who are you? Things I can't even say on YouTube, people were saying to her. It was wild. After reading the comments and watching the video multiple times, I think there's two reasons why she received a lot of backlash when she first uploaded this video. The first reason I think she received backlash is the fact that she decided to bring this to the internet. Now, mind you, this event happened 3 years prior. So we are being told about something that happened 3 years ago. So a lot of people in the comments were like, why are you bringing your marital issues to the internet? And I'll be quite honest with you, I can understand where people are coming from. I don't think anyone should bring their marital issues or relationship issues to the internet. I find that very weird and strange whenever people do it, because all you're doing is allowing people to judge and to give their opinions on your relationship, and that is always a no-no. If you plan on still being with that person and you want to salvage what's left of your relationship, I don't see any purpose in you coming to the internet and trying to tell people. Also, in her coming to the internet, a lot of people felt like she was disrespecting her husband and painting him out to be a horrible father, incompetent, as well as a terrible husband. Now, I don't agree with this because throughout the video, she states multiple times that her husband is amazing. He's very hands-on. He loves his kids. He loves her, and that she has a great husband. So I do think people are projecting on that part. But this is what happens when you invite the public into your relationship. They're going to assume and they're going to project based off the little information you give them. The second reason I think she received a lot of backlash is her delivery. A lot of people did not like the way how she made the story all about her, and she was only pointing out her husband's flaws, kind of going back to the whole disrespect thing. Also, people pointed out that she sounded really angry, upset, irritated, and just her tone was completely off. Now, I don't agree, but we all know that people interpret things differently, so I did want to point that out. Now, to play devil's advocate, I understand why Paige came on the internet to share this story. If you go on her page right now, you will see that this is what she does. She gives advice on mental health. She gives advice on childcare. She gives advice on relationships, on marriages. Her page is dedicated to helping people who need help in any of those categories. This is her job. This is what she does for a living. So she does not have a gossip page or a drama page. She is not here to spill the tea and fill you in on what's happening in her relationship and in her marriage. So her coming online and telling the story about the time when she and her husband almost got a divorce, it's her helping her audience and letting them know that yes, marriage is hard, but with proper communication, you can save your marriage and get to a better place. Also, she is telling a story that happened 3 years ago. This did not happen last month. It didn't happen last week. It happened 3 years ago. And within those 3 years, she was able to grow. Her husband was able to grow, so much so that they were able to save their marriage. And I'm sure for a lot of people who follow Paige, they appreciate her for being vulnerable and sharing her story, because they're probably going through something similar in their marriage, and now they know that there is hope out there. Now, would I advise people to bring their relationship issues to the internet? Probably not, but let me know if she's wrong for sharing this or if it wasn't that big of a deal. This story caught my attention because it perfectly illustrates just how much is expected of women, especially moms, when it comes to raising children and taking care of the household. There are so many roles that women are expected to juggle, and you better not drop one ball, because the moment you drop it and the moment you falter, society tries to tell us that we are no longer fulfilling our purpose in life anymore, and that is a problem. I don't know about some of y'all, but the older I get and the more I start to think about marriage and kids, this terrifies me, as well as the response that people were leaving under this video. The idea that you can be with someone and they can choose not to help you terrifies me. I'm not talking about Paige and her husband, because she states multiple times that her husband is very involved. I'm talking about in general, and people wonder why now more than ever young women are afraid to have kids. It's because of this. Now, there are other reasons, but this is one of it.
I refuse to be a stay-at-home mom in a country that doesn't place any value on the unpaid invisible labor that women do. This comment that the mental load would be easier if I'm a stay-at-home mom is just wholly untrue, because if you talk to any stay-at-home mom, they will tell you that the expectations on them are greater. We expect stay-at-home moms to work 24/7. We tell them it's the most important job in the world, and then when they do it, we say, so what do you do all day? What, like it's hard? It's not hard. What are you complaining about? We tell them that their time is not nearly as valuable as their partner's time because their partner gets paid. And so, no, I will not be a stay-at-home mom in a country that does not value the unpaid invisible labor that women do. It can't be me. And I'm not saying that it's wrong to be a stay-at-home mom. I support any woman who wants to do that. I think that is a very valid, important choice if you want to make that, but I'm not going to. But ultimately, regardless of whether or not a woman is a stay-at-home mom or the breadwinner, they do most of the domestic labor and the childcare. So the real solution to the mental load would be men stepping up, men doing more. And I know men don't like to hear that as the solution to the problem, but it just is.
The comment she's responding to in this video, the person tells her that maybe if she was a stay-at-home mom, then she wouldn't be overwhelmed and the mental load wouldn't be as great. The fact that this is the only solution that this person can come up with tells me that we still have a lot of growing to do as a society. This topic is pretty old. It happened back in March, but let me know your thoughts and opinions, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!